Welcome back to the series about my rambling thoughts on Series 12. Okay, this time around we've got Episode 3, Orphan 55. It seems like the hate train's started up again now. You know, I really am starting to question whether I just unconditionally love anything with Doctor Who printed on it. I think I do, honestly. Why is it I seem to like everything that everyone else absolutely hates? I don't get it. Okay, as you may be able to tell from what I've just been rambling about to myself, for the life of me, I cannot understand what people's problem is with Orphan 55. Okay, I might be able to understand a couple of the points, but really? Okay, things that I do think are a bit of an issue with the episode. The pacing was a little bit off. It kind of jumped quite quickly into the main bulk of the episode with the dregs attacking the holiday spa. The ending was a little bit weird. I mean, it wasn't quite as weird as the ending to Arachnids in the UK, where the Donald Trump parody guy, what's his name, Robertson? Yeah, that guy. Where that guy just shot the spider, said, "Yeah, I'm an asshole, see you later, I'm going," and just buggered off. And then it just ends, and then we just go to the end scene of like, oh, let's all go on another adventure. Come on then. That was not a Yorkshire accent. But yeah, the pacing of the ending was a bit off. Yeah, the whole global warming message, I mean, it's good that they're doing an episode about that particular issue, but I mean, I thought it was going pretty well up until the end where Jodie just stands there for like 2 minutes and gives a speech about it. That's the one problem, really. I think it would have worked out a lot better if she hadn't just given us a direct lecture about global warming for like 2 minutes right at the end there. That's the problem. Yeah, that seems to be one of the main problems with the Chibnall era so far. It is a bit annoying. In most cases I've been able to overlook the overly, should we say, the overly explained dialogue and messages and shit. I don't know what I'm talking about. You get the idea. I think what would have been good is... Okay, before we go on to the things that I don't think warrant as much criticism as they're currently getting, let's do a quick rundown of how I would probably slightly tweak the structure of the episode to make it a bit better, I think. Okay, so we got the opening, and within like the first, like before the 10-minute mark I think it was, we got the dregs attacking the hotel, and then it just all kicks off for the next like 40 minutes. Just a couple more minutes at least of build-up, maybe a couple to a few more minutes build-up in the opening, perhaps before the villains start attacking. You know, just let's get used to what's going on for a short while longer. Then, because like 40 minutes of this episode was just running around being chased by the dreg monsters for yeah, a lot of the runtime, I would probably shorten the main bulk of this episode by a few minutes, maybe like 5 minutes, possibly a bit more. I'm sure they could probably cut out some part of the main bulk of the episode. I guess it's called Act 2. I'm sure they could cut out some part of that. There must be some bit of them going out into the wasteland and running around and getting back to the hotel that wasn't really necessary, so yeah. Take out a bit of Act 2 and extend Act 1 by doing that, and then yeah, maybe shorten the whole lecture at the end about global warming to something a bit more convincing that doesn't sound like it's the end of a 5-minute CBeebies cartoon where the main character's just learned about global warming and then the narrator or something just goes, "Remember kids, plant trees. Global warming is bad and it will ruin your future. Next up, show me. Is that still going? I don't know. Shorten the whole speech lecture thing at the end about global warming by maybe a few lines perhaps. Try and make it a bit more concise, and then I reckon if you do that you might have a little bit of time just to show them going back in the TARDIS to rescue Kane and Bella at the end rather than leaving them for dead. That was something I didn't understand as well. I don't know, maybe they just ran out of time for it. Maybe it was because they just didn't bother putting it in. I don't know, maybe it was done deliberately to hammer home the bleak and depressing reality that if we don't sort out global warming we're all doomed. I don't know. Either way, it doesn't make too much sense. I mean, the Doctor and her companion, I need to say his then, sorry. I mean, the Doctor and the companions are back in the TARDIS now, so surely they can go back to Orphan 54 Earth, I suppose, as it actually is, and they can rescue Kane and Bella. from being mauled by a horde of dregs. I don't know. That just seemed a bit weird. But yeah, I reckon if you just cut out some bits from Act 2, shorten down the whole like 40 minutes of just running around away from the monsters, extend the opening a little bit so it's a bit more, you know, time to establish what's going on before we kick off, and then you should be able to tweak the ending a bit. So you cut down on the global warming lecture, which got a bit annoying because it was a bit too long, and then you'd probably have a little bit of room at the end just to show them going back in the TARDIS and rescuing the last 2 remaining characters. You could do that. I mean, even that weird ending where Jodie's, where the Doctor's like, you call her Jodie, even that weird ending where the Doctor was like, humanity has to learn to sort out global warming before it's too late. Or, she says or, and then it cuts to a dreg just screaming at the camera. You could still have that as well, but just a little bit after they rescued the other 2 characters. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's how if I was going to do this one, I'd probably restructure it a little bit to play a bit more like that. I mean, overall I thought it was actually pretty decent. It was very entertaining, at least. The dregs, before I move on to anything else, the dregs have got to be my favourite monster design in recent years. They are amazing. Those things look bloody horrifying. I mean, I wasn't actually scared of them, but they look really blooming gruesome. I love them. They're really good. Even if you think this episode is complete horse shit, you've got to admit that's some really good creature design, and I think it's a nice mix of practical costumes and some CGI. I guess some people were saying once we saw hundreds of them out in the daylight, after like 15 minutes of the episode it kind of took away from them, but I don't know. I still really liked them. I thought they were quite menacing. They were really good. It would have been nice to see them actually chase after the characters a bit more, you know, actually full on sprint at them, like, "Ugh!" rather than just sort of slowly lumber behind them just out of shot for most of the episode. Once or twice it would have been nice to see them do something actually horrifying. You know, this is a family show, you can show a bit of gruesomeness. Not to the levels of something like Torchwood Countryside, obviously, but you can still show something. I mean, come on. But yeah, minor nitpick that. Yeah, the creatures were really good in this episode. They've got to be one of the highlights, one of the standouts if you ask me. Now, things that people said about the episode that I do agree are kind of flaws. There's a few of them, so let's just see what we can do. There's a lot of supporting side characters in this. Granted, most of them aren't really that well developed, let's be honest. James Buckley was kind of not really in the episode. As well as the kid of his didn't do much apart from... I mean, if we're honest, the kid did kind of save them all by reactivating the teleporter, but yeah, beyond being a genius engineer kid guy and fixing a load of shit that helped them along, he wasn't much of a character in his own right. Yeah. A lot of people have been complaining about the old couple, which I honestly didn't mind them. I thought they were fine. I don't remember the old woman screaming "Betty" as much as people are saying she did. I don't know, maybe I've just got a crap memory. They were fine. I didn't have a problem with the old people. I thought it was kind of sweet, actually. The female version of Bath from Spaceballs, hyphen whatever her name was. Did anyone else think she looked like Bath from Spaceballs? I thought she was fine, didn't end up amounting to much in the end. Kane and Bella, pretty decent, although Bella's real character story just kind of came out of nowhere, let's be honest. Could have done building that up a bit more, or maybe revealing the whole mother-daughter plot twisting in a bit of a better way than just suddenly, "Yo, yeah, by the way, this is what I'm doing, motherfucker." I don't know why I turned into Mr. T there for no reason. Yeah, their characters were... I mean, the characters themselves are pretty decent, Kane a bit more than Bella, but the whole mother-daughter thing, I don't know, it felt kind of shoehorned in, shall we say. I don't think it really needed to be... I mean, it was kind of the basis of the entire plot happening, really. I mean, Bella was the whole reason that this shit's going down, and her motivations obviously rely on the whole mother-daughter relationship thing in the first place, but, I don't know, you probably could have found a different way of initiating the series of events in this episode without that particular character/plot point, I think. Because it kind of comes out of nowhere and doesn't really feel that well done. Like I said earlier about the pacing, it kind of dives into the main action a bit too early and drags it out for too long, and then the ending's a bit sort of rushed and a bit ham-fisted in the way it delivers the global warming message. Was it global warming slash nuclear war slash just humans being shitty in general? I mean, let's be honest, it's really realistic, because I reckon we're going to be going down that route in about 30 years, if we're lucky, so, you know, props to them for predicting the future pretty well. I love bleak and depressing stories like this, I honestly do. I actually really like them when they're like this. That's probably why I like it so much. Did anyone else get reminded of the future predators from Primeval when they saw the dregs as well? The fact that they're from a future apocalyptic Earth as well, that's kind of similar to the future predators as well. That's cool. Why did they never do a Doctor Who Primeval crossover? If any two shows deserve to have a crossover, it was those two. Oh my god, I could write a fanfiction on that. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the pacing. Yeah, the pacing was a little bit off, as I said earlier on when I detailed how I would tweak the episode structure a bit. So yeah, I won't reframe that now. I think that's all the characters really, apart from the main cast. The main cast are really good. Yeah, the Doctors, I think they're doing pretty well with the Doctor now. For the whole of Series 12 so far, they've kind of made their character a lot better. I think they're sticking with, yeah. Me dum-dum, me think 13 good Doctor now. Character being consistent, last 3 eps. Good. Graham didn't have a whole lot to do apart from being the funny comic relief and then like using the tracking device thing for a bit and yeah, kind of trying to help fix the teleporter but not being able to because I'm a bus driver, mate, not a mechanic. That's funny. Ryan, again, going back to character, Ryan's shoehorned in love interest is just bullshit. I hate when they shoehorn in love interests for characters that don't go anywhere and it's just stupid. So yeah, that shouldn't have been a thing. They should have just been helping each other out to survive rather than trying to get it on. That was dumb. Apart from that, I think Ryan as a character was decent enough. It's funny when he got infected with the Hopper virus and he started hallucinating the bats. That was funny. I like that whole scene. Yaz is kind of become useless again. Spyfall Part 1 is literally the only episode of her entire tenure so far that she's been properly useful. I mean, she's done a fair few things, but she's never been as useful as she has been in Spyfall Part 1 since then. I know we're only 2 episodes after that so far, but I don't know, we'll see. So yeah, nothing particularly too remarkable for the companions. They're pretty decent, so they're doing something right with them, I guess. They're going in the right direction. But the Doctor's really starting to get really good now, I think. I think they're really going in well, and yeah, okay, Doctor good, move on, Jake, before you ramble too much. I'm not sure what else I want to say. I think I've covered pretty much everything. Let's see a minute. What else is there? Yeah, I think I've covered pretty much everything. So yeah, in conclusion, overall, I think this is actually a pretty good episode. I would give it a good... That's the point, I've not been scoring these episodes, have I? Have I been scoring these? I don't know. Well, bugger, I'll score this one and then I'll see if I score any future episodes. I really did enjoy it. A lot more than most people do. I think I just have really low standards when it comes to Doctor Who or maybe just fiction in general. I tend to enjoy things more than I probably should in the opinions of more critical people. But I really enjoyed it. I do recognise its flaws, though, and I was kind of annoyed by a couple things. Mainly the global warming lecture at the end being a bit tedious. They could have streamlined the message a bit more, but yeah, lovely plot twist with it being on Earth, although it does kind of fuck with previous bleak future Earth storylines that we've had on Doctor Who, such as Trial of a Time Lord with Ravelox. It does kind of fuck with previous Doctor Who canon, although I guess it could just be an alternate timeline somehow, which, you know, kind of happens all the time, I guess. It's an alternate timeline, that's my excuse for counting every single piece of Doctor Who media as canon, even if it contradicts something. The whole lecture at the end was a bit tedious, could have been streamlined a bit more. Apart from that, I quite enjoyed it. Loved the monster design, I thought they were fantastic. Overall, I don't know if I'd give it quite a 7. I think I'd be generous and give it a 6.5 out of 10 in total. So that's 3.5% of me nitpicking and a little bit, or having genuine problems with bits that not a lot of people seem to like either, so I think that's kind of justified. And then 6.5% of me that actually quite likes it and sees some really good potential in this one that got a little bit maybe shat on somewhere down the line. But yeah, had good potential to be a fantastic episode. I think it still was pretty good. Better than a lot of episodes I've seen. Definitely one that I would consider rewatching, even if it's just to get a daily dose of bleak and depressingness out of it. But yeah, I really like this one. Alright, I'll be back round about the same time next week with the review of, and I can't believe they've actually called it this, Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. I fucking hate that title. Let's just hope the episode is better than the title. Anyway, see you next time.